A question that some people might have is the new 2024 Mustang really worth it? Is it really that powerful? Now, I want to touch up on a few little things, and the answer could be no, it's not, or the answer could be yes, it is. It just depends on preferences. If you already have a 2015, 2016, 2017 manual Mustang, it's probably not worth upgrading just because of the power. You would upgrade because you have, I don't know, too many miles, whatever that is. I have no idea. I bought mine in 2016 brand new. As of the time of this video, it has just over 50,000 miles. But anyway, fun car. And I'm going to talk a little about my car in a bit. But first, if we look at American Muscle tested a stock Mustang. And I'm not sure if all of the numbers that I'm going to be talking about, if they came from manual transmission cars or automatics. So keep that in mind. But for the purpose of conversation, this is a stock Mustang GT. So I'm talking about GTs only. Max horsepower 391 and max torque 364. Well, I went through and I started looking at dyno tests for other vehicles, and I purposely decided to, I'm going to show some YouTube ones. So this is by Lethal Performance. So according to Lethal Performance, max power for a 2024 Ford Mustang GT. Now, plus K&N filters, not sure. Maybe they just swapped the filter. No big deal. But we have max horsepower. It's under 400 horses. Torque, let's say about 370 foot-pounds of torque. Well, 370, barely a little more. Horsepower, not really that much. Considering the 2015 Mustang was rated at 435 horses versus the Dark Horse is rated at, the regular GT is rated at maybe 480, so we're looking at a total of 45 horses, and yet it's making less than 10 more at the wheels. Interesting. Again, I don't know if it's manual versus automatic, but I just had a look for Dark Horse figures. This is one by Hennessy Performance. So Hennessy Performance, this is on a Dark Horse. Their baseline is 428, so this seems to be quite impressive. Max torque, notice the torque is only 379. Not really that impressive. Well, 79, you could say, well, it's more than 15. It's 79, it's 15. 15 foot-pounds. Yeah, all right. Maybe. I wonder what the rear end is. And that's the other thing, too. What rear end is? Was this Mustang with a 331 rear end, which Ford used to use a lot? Is the Dark Horse, does it have a 355, or is it the 373? My Mustang has 409 gears. I went with the Ford Performance 409, but that's a story for a later time. Now, if we look at Stida, they tested a Mach 1, so now I'm going into Mach 1. 409 horses, torque 374. Not that impressive if you compare it to the baseline. So, let's see, I thought I had, so that's a Dark Horse, and this is a Dark Horse. Now this one's by Stang Mode. So Stang Mode, now these are impressive numbers, and I am not sure if the horsepower of this is because of the dyno, but if we go back to the torque is 368 versus Hennessy's 373. So that's very interesting. Now, remember, horsepower is a product of torque times RPM. So the more RPM, the more horsepower. So this is interesting. Be more interested in looking at the graph, see how it actually looks, but it's not really, I can't really get the spot. But going back to the basic numbers, this is why I say you probably shouldn't get the new one because of the horsepower. And the reason why is Ford Performance put out a long time ago, I don't remember when, the Performance Pack 2, which is what I have in my car from a while back. So you get the throttle body off of the GT350 intake as well, which is the same intake as you would find in the Mach 1 and the Bullet. And then you get tuning options. And one of the reasons why I got this was for the 409 gears, because you can program it. But if we go to the dyno run, oh, would you look at that? Look at the torque. 387. This is more than the Dark Horse. This is more than the Mach 1. Absolutely more than any GT. And horsepower, we're now at 409. And if we go into the Mustang Mach 1, 409. Oh, would you look at that? We're now producing the same amount of horsepower as the Mach 1, according to these dyno runs, but we are producing more torque. 374 Mach 1 versus 387. So as far as I'm concerned, based on these numbers, since these are two different entities or companies that are doing the dyno, different dyno tests, things are not quite apples to apples, to use a common expression. I'm still going to say they're relatively close. So if you have a 2015, 16, or 17 Performance Pack 2, or Power Pack 2, I should say, Ford Performance Power Pack 2, you're pretty much going to be producing numbers very similar to the Mach 1. And as far as torque, well, I mean, it's your call. Dark Horse, not really much of a difference, except for horsepower. But then again, it's probably an RPM thing. Now, if you want more horsepower, it's going to be less torque. So let's go ahead and go to that baseline. You can also get the Performance Pack 3. Now, this comes with the intake manifold for the following gen Coyote motors. So this would be your 2018, 19, and so on. There's also an advantage of getting this intake. I went with the regular intake. It produces more torque. This one's more of a high end. But if you go with something like this, you see gains of, these are peak gains of 37 horsepower. Well, let's see. 37 horsepower. You add this to the 391. Wow. Now you're a lot. Now you've surpassed the Mach 1, and you're getting pretty close to the Mustang Dark Horse. So that's the reason why. If you're really just looking into engine power, you shouldn't sell the vehicle and get the new one just because of the engine power. You should consider this Ford Performance Power Pack, which I think is great that Ford made these. To be honest, what I think happened is Ford realized the Coyote engine was a lot better than expected, and once they produced the 2018 and so forth, they realized they could go back to the other vehicles and give you some cool parts and tuning. The only thing is you do have to use 91 octane or higher. So every time I fill up, I have to use a 91, which if you want performance, you're going to be using that fuel anyway, rather than the lower octane rated fuels. Now, I'm not saying that by putting this, your Mustang's going to be just as good as the other ones. No, not at all. There's actually some really good differences, amazing differences when it comes to the Mustang Mach 1, for example, and the Dark Horse, such as the hubs. The bearings are just much, much stronger. So if you're planning on tracking, taking some really hard turns, these cars just have far better bearings in the front. They're larger, have more mass, more strength. And there's some other components too that are different, especially on the 2024 Mustangs. They're actually not the same vehicles. So for those reasons, if you're planning on really tracking, you wanted that strength and durability, maybe you can consider the new one. In my case, to be honest, I'm really happy with mine. And one of the reasons why is some people are a big fan of this front end. Me, not so much. One of the things that I actually love about the 2024, I don't have any pictures here, But one of the things that I love about it is the front end of the car looks closer to the front end of my car. So I think the 2024 Mustangs look more like the 2015 16s and 17s. But anyway, these are just some thoughts and some numbers. And another quick note, the installation of the Power Pack 2, really easy. You can finish in just a few hours, basic tools, not that big of a deal, to be honest. It was really straightforward. And one of the reasons why I ended up doing this was because I wanted the torque. Unfortunately, I have 409 gears. It's way too much torque. First gear, I always start in second, and first gear, it's very easy to break the tires loose. Second gear, same thing. Yeah, good luck with traction. I have 295s in the rear, Nito tires. But anyway, that aside, like I said, I hope this video was useful, at least entertaining. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.